Welcome to my webuniversity.com free education videos. In this session, we're going to open up a command prompt, and on Windows, a platform, we're using Windows version 10. So if I just want to know some of the basic commands or top commands that I could check on the network and then the host name and the details, I'm going to show you how to check on each one of those commands and get the data or the output from the list of these commands. So if I want to know exactly where I am, what is my host name, I type in the word host name, and it will tell me that this is a laptop that I have, and then it is connected. But I need to know that what is my operating system and what is the version and the details of hardware, CPU, memory. Yes, you can get it from the command line as well as a graphical interface of Windows GUI. In this session, I'm going to show you all the command lines options. See that there are so many things you can do from Windows command prompt. And if you just basically run the command system info, this will just give you the details of all the information of your system. It's not gonna stop one page at a time. So it's gonna go throughout the detail, and you can scroll up and down with the mouse to just read it, or you could just do clear the screen and then do system information, pipe more. Pipe more will just give you one page at a time, so you can read it and you can say, okay, host name is laptop, and then the operating system is Windows, Microsoft Windows 10 home version, and the rest of the information is there. The registry owner is myself, and then the details of all the directory structures as well as memory, how much memory you have on this one. And then if there's any swap file is there, it's just showing you physical memory, CPU and memory and processor, the speed and everything. All together, you can get information from this command. If I just want to know, for example, specific information, like I can do a find, which is similar to like a grep command on Linux or Unix. So I could do a find, and then I ignore the case, and then say, like, for example, boot time. When was the last time this Windows machine was rebooted? Maybe it's just yesterday. So you can see that I shut it down more often, and I don't need to just make this machine be online all the time. So then you can also search for, like, for example, host name, and then OS version, and then some of those details, like, for example, the host name was laptop. You can also look for the hardware to see what is in terms of the processor speed and memory. If it doesn't give you exact name, maybe it is just something with CPU. And then let's check it out for that one. It does not find that either. Let me just say model. Yeah, so the hardware system model is the character model matched here, and then you can see the it is authentic AMD 3.1 gigahertz, that's or megahertz in this case. Yeah, that actually is 3.1 gig when you just add 1024 to the megahertz already there, because it's 3100 megahertz. So you can also get, like, for example, other information, like, for example, operating system or memory. So if you want to see the memory, you can do find/I for memory, and you get the details of how much memory you're using on the system, how much is total of memory, and how much is virtual in use, and how much is available on the system. So let's just check for a little bit more, like, for example, look for the Windows. And then for Windows, you can see that you're running Windows 10 OS name. So if I search for exactly just OS name like that, whether I type in /i or not, because I put it exact name, it will just match that one. But if you want to just not type it exact characters, uppercase and lowercase, then the find /i ignore case is going to help you. So that was the command for hostname. Another useful command is for a network configuration. For example, when you say hostname, you know that this is your hostname. And now if you do a ping this hostname that we are pinging it, you can see that it is reaching. It is on the internet. So in order to understand that what is on the net, what is the IP address of this one, you can do Ipconfig. And then if you don't do any argument, it's just going to give you these outputs, but you have an option of /all. And then I'm going to do a pipe more because it's a little bit longer list because we do pipe more. Again, this is going to just give you the IP addresses, and you can see IP version 4 address. Since I'm running IP version 4, it shows that 192.168.254.147 is the IP address that is dynamically host configuration protocol assigned it from the pool of DCP. And then this is the net mask, which is 255.255.255.0, meaning that it's a C subnet. And then I could just go here on this one, and let's say I go again to do a find and then look for IP version 4. So since I did a specific /i, it's going to ignore case. It's going to match whether I search for lowercase b or uppercase b. But notice that this is the IP address that is assigned to this one for IP version 4. And if I'm looking for IP version 6, let's say, if there's any IP version 6, yes, it's equivalent to IP version 4. There's IP version 6 MAC address information that is all showing here and there also. And then the next command that is very useful is that you could do we did a ping. So ping of that IP address right here will also show that this is up and running. You can tell that this is up and running. Time to live is going to respond. There's going to be like a 4 connection by default. And then if you just want to control it with other options, like ping /?, you will see that options that are there for count, the number of counts that are there. Specifically, you can just do -n count and then give a number of counts. For example, here, and instead of 4, if I just say run 5 of them, so it will be 5 connection and then exit out. So now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it connects out. Sometimes you want to just do this thing for a long time because the machine is rebooting or something, you can just check it. So if I just do a ping on another server, let's say ping, I don't give the name, say google.com, this is just going to ping it and it's going to give the IP address of it. So now we're going to introduce you the other command is called Nsloca, name server lookup. Nsloca will give you the option of finding out basically what this domain is. This domain is basically giving you google.com. And if you just do a -q for query, -q is query, and then I say a record, you could see that it's there. And then the same thing with MX record. A record or MX record shows the mail exchanger record. And then also you can see the mail exchanger record, which is the mail servers. Basically, here's a list of mail servers that for mail exchanger that is Google is receiving. If I do a Nsloca -q as CNAME or canonical name or alias name, you will see that the list of this there. So docs.google.com is a CNAME or alias name that is pointing to that google.com. Similarly, like if I do, let's say I say a name for the oracle.com, you can see that it has a IP address of a record of 137.254.120.20.50, and then if I just do a CNAME for it, the CNAME is going to show that same one. But if I say Java .oracle.com, you can see that it's there with matching all these java.oracle.com as aliases. And what about java.sun.com? Because we used to have Sun Microsystem before Oracle purchased it. So java.sun.com should be also still available as an alias. And you can see that this alias is still there. Similarly, if I go in this lookup for minus query is equal a record from for my web university.com. This is my website that I'm providing you free education videos through this. You can see that this IP address is there. And if I want to just see my C record, if there's any C record that I assign, it will just show that one as well. And if I do, for example, minus MX record to see the mail exchanger record, you can see mail.mywebuniversity.com is the mail exchanger. So you can get that information. There's another useful command called traceroute. So if I just say traceroute google.com from my computer, traceroute. I'm sorry, traceroute is full command is Linux or Unix command. You do traceroute for the Microsoft version equivalent to traceroute. You do traceRT. This one, traceroute. It is traceRT, but it's actually the equivalent traceroute for Unix Linux command. You can see that this is a little bit, the number of hops is going to just be a little bit time consuming, but eventually it will resolve because when I ping Google, it will connect. But the number of connection that is coming from different DNS name resolver is actually going to just determine whether this is going to resolve or not. And every time that it's slowed, like this asterisk, it means it's going to time out on one request, and which it did on this one, then it's going to try another one, and then through that one, it's going to succeed, or it's going to go to another frontier. For example, my Wi-Fi stuff, my wireless connection and Ethernet cables, everything that I'm connecting through the server, through the internet, and then it will connect to eventually to Google. So I'm going to stop this one. I'm not going to wait for this to just keep. It sometimes it's just really fast, and it is depending on how busy that DNS name servers are. It is just the number of hop gets there, and then eventually it says trace completed, and it look at 9 hops, and that was there. But if I do the same thing for let's say www.mywebuniversity.com, you can see that the gateway, it goes to my gateway, which is the frontier gateway, and then from there it goes outside and then connects to the frontier.net, and then goes to these IP addresses, and then eventually will resolve. But you can see that it is because I'm through a wireless Wi-Fi connection, it is really slow. And then I could connect this one to an Ethernet cable that's going to resolve much faster. So that's what you could do. I'm going to Control C out of this. It is actually getting busy, and it's going to eventually Control C out of it, or just resolve it after 9 or 10 attempts. Let's just give it a few more seconds. And so you can see how it is internet DNS works. The name resolver or resolving it, eventually it will just know that what is that website or destination address. You can also do a Nslookup without any argument, and then here you can type in, like, for example, www.google.com, and you could get it, and then you could say www.ibm.com or ibm.com. Doesn't matter whether you put www, you will get an IP address. Or just say amazon.com. You could get it. For example, let's say, what else we could do is jpl.nasa.gov. You could get the IP addresses. So you could get everything that you're looking for. And mywebuniversity.com, you get it. And then if you just start exiting out of this, you will be back on the prompt. So, and another very useful command that I'm going to show you is called Traceroute we showed. And let's do Netstat. So Netstat by default is going to just give statistics on the network, and what ports are open and what ports are established connection, what ports are we listening. So if you just do Netstat without any argument, it basically gives you the protocol that is used, the IP address that is local to your machine, and then the remote machine, the foreign address. It shows there in the state where that port is open, closed, or waiting for it, or established connection, and so on. So let me just Control-C out of this also. And you could do a netstat -rn. -rn is give you the routing table on this system. So in numbers. So if you just do a -n, the same numbers that we were seeing, it shows the IP address on the remote as well as that one, and all the ports that you're listening. So notice that this time it was much faster. And then if I just look for find/i for listen, since I'm not listening to any port, it does not do it. It's just a Windows client. If you're running a Windows server, you're listening to port 80 for Apache, or 443 for a cell certificate, or for SSHD 22 or FTP 21, or any other ports that you're listening for LDAP or something, you can just do find/i listen. And then if you didn't do /i, you could just write listen in uppercase. It will just show you everything that is listening. This one, you can do A for all. And then now you could see that the listening port is there for everything that Windows by default listens. Whether you're running a service or not, Windows is going to listen to these ports. Like this is the local IP address of .0s. And then 127.0.1, this one is the loopback interface of the local machine and the local host. And you can see that this ::.0 is for IP version 6 version of it. So the netstat command, you can do -rn, and then 5 more. This one, a routing table will show up, and then everything that is on your gateway, and then the servers, you can see that the gateway is this 192. So my machine, when I ping to the local host, I have to be able to ping my gateway. If I cannot reach out to the gateway, then I have a network issue. So this has to be pingable in order for me to just go outside. And that is the netstat command. And then you can also have some other commands on Linux similar to netstat, like lsof and list of open files, that you can check on ports and IP addresses, and what is open and what is listening at what is current. On Unix and Linux, there's also a command whois. So whois is not provided on Windows by default. So if I type in whois here, there's going to say that whois is not recognized as an internal command. But the nice thing is that Microsoft provided as a manually addition zip files that you can download from Microsoft website. Just look for Microsoft website for who is in this one, and this whois is a zip file that I downloaded from Microsoft, and I installed it here already for you to demonstrate the whois. So now let's say I go to the whois, which is my current directory user Wahid. I'm CDing to whois directory, which I downloaded this zip file. This zip file is downloaded, and then I extracted the zip file here in this directory. And as you can see, it created whois.exec for 32-bit and whois 64-bit.exec. And these two are binary file that whether you type in whois.exec or you just type in whois, automatically is going to run this one. Because whatever file on Windows that has the extension of .exec, .com, .batch, it will just, if you just type in the name of the file, automatically knows that you're calling that program. So if I'm looking at whois, and well, let me tell you what is whois. Whois is, if I just say my web university.com, university.com. So when I do a whois on my web university.com, I want to get the details of what is the domain registry, when this domain was created, when this domain is expired, when who owns this domain, and what is the details of all the domain registry for this site. As you can see, that domain registry, it says registry URL is www.namecheap.com, which is a very good domain registrar. I have been using it for many years, and I'm very happy with their service. And they also provide DHCP service, dynamic host configuration protocol, which I use. It's really cool. And then the creation date that I created this website, mywebuniversity.com, or this company back in 2000, August 5th of 2000. And then the expiry is next year sometime in August. So, and then the registrar IANA, and then all the details of ICANN, all those information is here. And then you can also search, for example, you see whois server.namecheap, that will provide the details of it and similar information. So let me just give you, like, for example, if you search for domain name, you will see that the actual website name, domain name is mywebuniversity.com. And then in addition, if you're looking for further information, for example, you could do a find /I and then look for registry. So you can see that when this domain is expiring, so you could renew it before the expiration date. And the longer the expiration date, the better for you. So like if you look at the google.com, and then this one is registered until 2028, which means that's like they want to just make sure that it does not expire and somebody else take the domain name. For a company like that, that is $1 trillion company, it is has to have a long register, no matter what it is. And then and the detail of mywebuniversity.com, for example, if I'm looking for domain name, you can see that domain name is a lot used everywhere, but it did match it out exactly. So if I just look for the word my web university, then you can see that the details of that one is with whois there and matching there. So let's just do a whois on 64-bit. 64-bit is for the 64-bit operating system. Since my machine was there 64-bit, as you can see, system information grep minus, not grep, grep is a Linux command or Unix command 64, and grep stand for global regular expression print. So if I just look for 64, then the operating system is going to say this is actually a x64 based PC. So you can see that the model and the AMD 64-bit processor also shows that this is there. And if I just look for the processor, if there's any word that matches processor, it will just show, yeah, it is a build type multiprocessor free. But anything with AMD will just definitely give me related information with the CPU. AMD advanced micro device, and it did not match because I did not have the I. So AMD lowercase will match only if you do ignore case. So this is saying that AMD 64-bit processor, and that information is going to give you. So the whois is very useful command. Like for example, if you're looking for a command like let's say domain name, let's just search for one more things. Who is our unix.com, and then this one is basically my other domain that I'm teaching Unix and Linux, Solaris and Ubuntu and Python and C++ codes on it, and I post information online. So let me go back to the bottom, and here if you do the 64-bit also 64, it is just going to show you the same information, 5 more, and you get the details of it there with whois name, and then this one is also registered with my website. So that is the whois command. I believe I did not show you Arp command yet. So I'm going to clear my screen and I'm going to do Arp by itself. If you don't type any argument, Arp normally give you the output. If I just do this one, 5 more, you can see Arp is going to tell me what Arp does. Arp is basically address resolution protocol, and it is going to either set an Arp address, or just delete an Arp address, or list all of them -A. And then -V for verbose option, -G is the same as A. So when you do, like for example, here they even give you a Arp command -S to set up static Arp address. So if I just do Arp -A, sorry, clear the screen, clear screen. Clear is Unix and Linux command, and CLS is clear equivalent command on Windows. So clear screen will clear your screen, and you just say Arp -A, and then 5 more, so you can see one screen at a time. And you see the interface name is the internet address, the physical MAC address information, and then the static or dynamic. If it is connected through DCP, it is dynamic, and if it's connected through TCP/IP static IP address, it will be static. So now we're doing Arp -A, and we just already did that one, and then just by itself, Arp will tell you that you can just go ahead, delete something, or set it, and so on. And Arp is really important, and if you cannot ping a machine or something, check it out to make sure you don't have old Arp cache. That usually when you just do DNS a record or updated record is done, you just are taking care of it by pinging to the gateway of that new IP address, and it will resolve it. But there's an entry time to live, as we checked it from the query. Like for example, I do a Nsloca www.google.com. Let's say you can see if I do a -Q is equal MX. This is just going to show MX record. I believe I was going to show you the ping command in this case, ping google.com. So you can see that time to live here, TTL. Time to live is 58 millisecond, and then 58 this is and time is 5 millisecond, and then time to live is set up to 58. Otherwise it will just expire, and if it cannot connect it. So if I ping something that doesn't exist, something that does not exist.com, whatever, then it's going to just ping my own gateway or something that is on this subnet, and it still get a reply. If I just say ping xyz.com, it does not matter. It's still gonna just try to reach out But then since this is something was an extra, somehow it picked up one of these IP addresses. It says reply from that one. And when I did ping xyz.com, since xyz.com does not exist, it expires. And if I just do Control-C out of this and say Nslookup xyz.com, since that is not an IP address, it actually resolved this one for it, but it comes out from a non-authoritative answers. So it is not trusted in a way that it's going to show up. And the same thing for this other one. If I do a Nslookup for it, again, you see that it comes from this one, and it comes out with the 23.108. And the address that we were seeing earlier, it was showing that. So if I just look for this IP address, you can do Nslookup on the IP address as well, name server lookup, to say, okay, this is a static Akamai technologies.com. So this is an address that is coming from Akamai. Akamai is also like a networking company that just does a lot of good stuff, similar to Cisco and other ones. They provide a lot of good hardware as well. So let's just clear the screen and then check out one more thing before we finish this session. What is that one more thing? I will think about it at this moment and just provide you like a net view. So net view is if you're running a net use, and then sometimes you can do other stuff similar to let me just do one more thing here first. Sorry. Help. If you just type in help on Windows, you get a list of commands that are available to you. So some of these commands are very useful, but some of the commands, like we did in Nslookup, if you do help in Nslookup, it's not gonna show any details of that one. It says run Nslookup /?. And if that command is available, it will give you that kind of argument output. And Nslookup, and then the argument to say this one. So if you say help net, then that is not there, but you can do net that /?, and you will see that, okay, with net, you have command view, you can have command use, you can stop statistics, and so on. So if I just do net view by itself, let's see if I am having any connections. More help is available. The surface has not been started. So you can tell if I just say net start and start my network services, this service will start. Now it says the command completed successfully. Net I say net view, it still says the service has not been started. And then depending on what you're viewing and what services is there. For example, sometimes you have Samba or Ceph NFS mount points that are allowed to your Windows. Then you can use a net use a drive like G and then // then the name of the whatever that name is for the remote Ceph, the volume that you're mounting it as. So you could do that one, and then when you go to the G drive, you're actually physically here and there. You can use net use also similarly with services like Explorer. So on the Explorer, if you go there, you don't need to run these commands, and you can do it. And then net use right now, since I'm not mounting anything, it says not connection will be, new connection will be remembered, and there are no entries in the list, so that we have not done anything here. But again, net itself, it gives you all these commands. You can set up accounts and computers. You can check on the computers, whatever's on the thing, net time, net stop, start, and so on. If I just do now is net stop, because I'm not going to run that service, and then it says the syntax of this command is net stop and then service. So the service name, I have to have a service name to stop. And then earlier when I did net start, that syntax, like for example, I could say start /?, This will just tell me that this syntax of the command is Netstat followed by service name. Service name is optional when it is in between brackets. So when I say Netstat here, you can see that it is starting all these services and says the command completed successfully. Windows security, Windows search, and Windows this, Windows that. Okay. So I'm going to stop here, and I hope you enjoyed it. And then please don't forget to subscribe at mywebuniversity.com, free educational videos, and hopefully you will get a lot of good videos to just enjoy and learn. Have fun. Peace and love for all. Bye.